Yes, thank you. Once again, my apologies for that 1 minute preparation. I want to begin by greeting all of us. Good evening. My name is Brown Ashira once again, and I'm happy to join you on the uh, happy Father's Day to all of us. I know it's a bit late, though, but happy Father's Day and happy Dad's Day to all of us. I believe we are fathers in our own rights. Whether you are a father in your own house or outside or wherever, that is that's a good thing. Congratulations to all of you for being fathers today, and we want to celebrate you. On behalf of the union, I want to give these opening remarks. Good evening, colleagues, distinguished speakers, and the participants joining us from across the country, particularly the public health officers, specialists, and technicians. On behalf of the Kenya Environmental Health and Public Health Practitioners Union, I warmly welcome you to this important webinar titled or themed Breaking the Silence, Prioritizing Men's Mental Health in Public Health Practice. As we commemorate Men's Mental Health Awareness Month and reflect on the significance of Father's Day, we recognize that the critical role men play in our families, our workplace, and communities. Yet, despite carrying immense responsibilities, men often struggle silently with stress, anxiety, burnout, emotional distress, and other mental health challenges. As public health professionals, we dedicate our lives to protecting and promoting the health of others. Remember, our work is to protect and promote the health of other people. However, we must also remember that we cannot effectively care for communities if we neglect our own well being. Mental health is not a sign of weakness, it is an essential component of our overall health and professional effectiveness. And today's webinar is part of Kehphpu's, that is our union's commitment to supporting the welfare of our members beyond workplace and labor matters. We seek to create a safe space where men can openly discuss their challenges, learn from the experts, and encourage one another towards healthier and more fulfilling lives. I wish to sincerely thank our speakers, that is Honorable Kenneth Ogendo, our national chair, plus Mr. Benjamin Zulu, a renowned life coach and psychologist, for accepting our invitation to guide us through this important conversation. Particularly, I want to thank Mr. Ken and Mr. Benjamin. All of you know that Benjamin is a renowned life coach, was premiering with the MTV, and also Mr. Ken, also who is also a public health consultant and also a specialist and also one of us in this profession. I also thank our moderator, every participant, all the PHOs who have taken time to join us this evening. As we begin, I encourage every one of us to participate actively, ask questions, share reflections, and most importantly, carry forward the message that seeking support is a sign of courage and strength and not weakness. Together, let us break the silence, support one another, and build a healthier, stronger public health workforce. As I finish, I want to say this that the greatest battle we fight more often is not the demons or rather the circumstances we face in, or rather the people, or rather anything else. The greatest wars or the greatest of wars or challenges that we fight are within our ideas and within our minds. So it is important that we we take this seriously because we know our minds form our lenses. It is through our mind we're going to be able to focus on what is actually supposed to be happening from today to day going forward. And we also, as a union, we want to say that we also want to rally all our colleagues, all the policy makers to ensure that we continue having this engagement. We need to make sure that we have periodic men's wellness conversations, peer support groups or PHOs, access to professional counseling, referrals, and wellness committees within our ranks and within the country. So karibuni sana na we feel at home as we engage. I wish you fruitful deliberations. Thank you so much, and back to you, Bwana Moderator. Asante sana.
Thank you very much, our SG, Mr. Brown Ashira, for that comprehensive remarks, then inspiring remarks, and reaffirming that Kenya Environmental Health and Public Health Practitioners Union is really committed into fighting for the welfare and well-being of its members. And we've seen this in particular forum that you have shown that we as public health officers need to even be stronger. You've shown us this. So, colleagues, when we hear of term mental health, many of us, most of the time, think about individuals, families, or patients in our communities. But yet, public health professionals, we know clearly that any health issues that affects large number of people impacts productivity. This one, in turn, usually strains our families, also affects service delivery at large. This contributes to disease burden because that becomes a public health concern in our country. So today, we invite ourselves to reflect on this particular important question. Is mental health illness a public health concern? So that's a question that we need to ask ourselves as a public health professions. And if it is, what does that mean for us as public health professionals? And particularly for men who often carry personal, family, social, and professional responsibilities in silence. So men suffer in silence, carrying large burdens that we may not tell. So to help us unpack this question, we are really privileged to hear from our experienced public health specialist, a passionate advocate for men's wellness. One, Mr. Kenneth Ogendo, who is also our chairman of the union, who is bringing a wealth of insights from years of professional practice and also engagement with health issues that affect individuals, families, and community at large. So, Mr. Ogendo is a public health specialist with over 15 years of experience in health system strengthening, leadership, advocacy, policy, partnership across Kenya and East Africa, and also one of the directors of external affairs at Luala Community Alliance, which implements various projects across the country. So he advances policy, advocacy, and also strategic partnerships to strengthen community health systems. He also serves as a board of a Global Health Learning Society and Women in Global Health Kenya, championing health equity and gender in Africa. Kenneth played a key role in developing Kenya community health policies and laying the foundation for electronic community health information system, that is the ECHIS, that our CHPs are currently using to report the data in the community. With this experience spanning public health and private sectors, including JICA and Living Goods, he is a PhD candidate at Strathmore University, researching on sustainable financing for community health workers, that is the CHPs. He's also passionate about public health financing. So beyond his professional work, Ogendo is a vlogger, blogger, podcaster with a lesser focus on 360 health, exploring masculinity, femininity, family, mental that we want to talk about today, social, physical, and community health at large. So he hosts 360 Shift podcast on his YouTube and also Spotify, and shares his experiences, perspectives across social media under the brand of Afia Fit 360 on Instagram, Facebook, and also the X, the former Twitter. So while blogging on this Healthy Fit 360 that is inspiring individuals across the nation, communities to pursue holistic health and purposeful living, Mr. Gendo is really passionate on this sector. So his presentation will help us also to understand the place of mental health in our society today, within public health, and also why these conversations such as this is very, very key and very, very necessary at this particular point. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want us to please allow me by a round of applause by clapping emoji welcome Mr. Kenneth Ugendo to deliver his presentation on the state of men's mental health in public health practice and also breaking the silence. So I want to welcome Mr. Ugendo to step in the floor and give us a keynote speech on state of men's mental health in public health practice and also the breaking the silence. Welcome, Mr. Ken Ugendo. We are happy to have you in this particular in our midst. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much for sharing. Let me know whether you can see me. Yeah. Yeah, thank you very much. I hope now I'm visible. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for the towering discussion of my accolades. And we are just here to humbly influence our colleagues and our nation. I'd like to say thank you very much for this opportunity to talk about men's mental health. I like sitting at the back. I know, having been a founder of the union, people want to focus on it a lot, but I want to focus more on the soft things that people do not talk about. So we are here to break the silence, and maybe I stand guided by the moderator. Will you be asking questions, or are you just giving an off-the-cuff speech based on your standard operating procedure?
Okay, Mr. Ken Ogendo, you're going to give us just a keynote speech on that area. Then we will have a Q&A session towards the end.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very well. So we want to break the silence. And having studied public health back in the day, we have always thought that public health is, or rather health for that matter, is focused on curative medicine alone. But increasingly, we are realizing that as children of the globe, we have to focus on prevention as much as we focus on curative health. But now for the public health practitioners, and how I wish we could have invited more healthcare workers and even the common man, Wanjiko, into this call, because all men are going through the same problems. We have an identity crisis that is ravaging the men in this age and day. I would like to start by defining what is health. And health is defined as a state of complete mental health, physical health, psychosocial health, and not the mere absence of disease and infirmity. I've paraphrased what WHO defines health as. And WHO is trying to remind us that we need not to look at health only as the physical presence of health, or rather emanating or radiating health physically. People can look at you and say, oh, you look very healthy. But we need to go beyond the physical attributes and also think about what cannot be seen, what is between the ears. And COVID-19 exposed the soft underbelly of the health system. And now that we're talking with public health practitioners on this call, it's good to remind us where we're coming from. If you remember, in 2019, people were forced to stay in their own houses. People were forced to interact more hours than they should. I'm sure some of us here spend more time with their wives and their children more than they were doing before. As a matter of fact, for some relationships, for some families, they were glued together more. The social bond increased in some households. But on the other hand, sexual and gender-based violence also increased. And that's why we are choosing to not just focus on our profession only, but also focus on the social issues that affect how we perform at work. Because if you come to work in the morning, you spend 8 hours in a day with your colleagues, meaning the mental health status at home affects how you perform at work. We cannot assume that you are a public success and a private failure. We are looking for people who can be public successes and private successes. And it starts and ends with what is in the mind. And many guys have quoted that you are what you eat, but I dare say today you are what you think. And whatever we consume in our minds with our brains then becomes our reality. So back to my story on what happened in 2019, 2020, when COVID came over and reared, rendered many families jobless. And at the same time, many people were exposed to mental health illnesses because of spending too much time on gadgets, spending too much time on TV and phones, because we ended up having no conversations at home. So it's high time we ask ourselves, then what should we do next when it comes to mental health? The government commits 1% of its budget to mental health. And we cannot avoid to think about the commitments and the investments of the government towards mental health. And when we look at the 1%, we look at mental health as supporting Madara Hospital and buying the drugs that help people who are going through tough psychological disorders, which I think Benjamin Zulu can talk about. But from a prevention point of view, are we investing enough of our resources and time on the things that matter? Public health data tells us there are 3 times more men than women committing suicide. And there are 3 times more women than men attempting to commit suicide. So I hope you're seeing the difference. So the thing is, out of every 4 people, 75%, yeah, 3 over 4, out of every 3, if you are together, out of every 4 people, 75% of them are men committing suicide. If a man tells you he's going to kill himself, you had better take him seriously. And if a woman says she's going to kill herself, she's likely going to attempt, but might not necessarily kill herself, but you should also take it as a red flag. If you look at the socialization of men and women, it's slightly different. Women are wired to express. They are socially connected. They are more, can I say, they have the propensity to be in a chama. And I was listening to someone sometime back who sent me a very interesting meme. You find that there are more women in churches than men, because women want to connect. Women might even journal more than men. For us as men, we tend to be lone rangers. You want to go and work hard, take a loan, buy plots, invest, and then come back to us when you've made it. But on your way up, climbing the ladder, we are not seeing you. You are missing. But when you have made it, when you have achieved, then you want to come back with your Range Rover and show the men and other women that you have made it. But we forget, on your way climbing up the ladder, there'll be no one when you're going down that ladder. So as much as you want to grow our careers and investments, we must learn something that women have learned, because women actually live longer than men. And that's an empirical theory, or an empirical, it has been tested that women share their problems more. And the sages said a problem that is half shared is half solved. But a man has been taught, we have been socialized, that we cannot talk about our problems. We have been taught that when you share your issues, you are a weak man. That a man is judged by the weight of his wallet. And hence a man will even go to great extents of stealing or great extents of corrupting the system so that you can amass more money, because we are imagining that a man is equal to money. As much as we don't want to advocate for men to be broke, we want men to work hard and have money. But also we are saying that it is important for men to also look at the value of a man based on certain principles that we do not talk about in the healthcare system. For example, I'll tell you for a fact that a man who does not have a sense of purpose, a sense of identity, then that man is vulnerable to stress. The other day, the Center for Social Justice released a report that mentioned that we have the lost boys generation, and the young men and women are actually getting lost. And this was a report that was done in London. And if you can pick that report, you could actually replicate that report to the whole of the globe. We are having a global identity crisis, and men are the culprits. Women went to Beijing, and their agency is increasing. We are now seeing women are increasingly knowing their rights, and men, if we are not careful in handling the situations, then we are likely to lose our agency. Do you know, out of the boys and and the girls who are studying in Europe, as per that report, 40% of those who were attending school stopped attending school. They are not in employment, and they are not in education or any vocation. And that is data that was done in, released in the United Kingdom. We have not done a lot of studies on men's mental health in this part of the world. But if you can imagine, if that is happening in the global north, then it is also happening in the global south. I would also want to say, within the same period after COVID, 9% of the girls who were in school, of all the girls who were in school after COVID, only 9% were not in education or vocational training or employment. We call it NEET. So that tells you something fundamentally wrong is happening to the boy child. Something has shifted. Power dynamics have changed. Men are increasingly expected to do so much more, yet the economic environment is not corresponding. I would like to remind us that we need to understand what is the root cause. Why are men not breaking the silence? Why are we keeping quiet as men? We are keeping quiet because we have been taught that a man is a man when he cannot show tears, he cannot cry. But it's high time we accept that you can meet your fellow man and share a story and share your weaknesses, not basically for them to go and troll you on social media, but sharing in a way that can allow you to release tension, to release cortisol, reduce the stress hormones, and increase the feel-good hormones. But you know what happens when men are idle, when we have no time to rest because we are working too hard to make it? Stress levels increase, cortisol levels increase. And at the same time, we are not able to control ourselves, and we become palpable to vices like pornography. I am not sure how many men here on this call, and I'm believing there are only men here, right? Dangote, are there men and women on this call?
We have even women in this call.
So we can just speak as those women are also married to other men up there, and they have brothers and sisters.
Definitely.
Do you know, as per the Kenyan Constitution, pornography is supposed to be managed under Schedule 4 of the Constitution. And in fact, it is a public health intervention. However, right now, so many men are vulnerable to pornography, spending copious amounts of time on porn just because it is easier for a man to get idle and look for something that can keep them busy. They say the weakness of the man is in the eye and the weakness of the woman is in the ears. And so as men, we easily get attracted to what we see, the mobile phone penetration in the world, like now in Kenya, we are at over 90%. And I also want to mention that the internet penetration in Kenya right now is over 50%. We have high-speed internet. And men are breaking their marriages right now. In fact, there's a study that was released, and it will say that 40% of the divorces that are happening have been catalyzed by pornography. You as a man, if you do not have your family in order, you might not be able to perform well at work. It will affect the public health outcomes of this country. If you look at the uptake of pornography globally right now, we're also seeing women are increasingly also watching pornography. And these are the things that people do in silence, but they are knowing and growing like a cancer that is affecting our marriages and our relationships. Because you cannot come to work to implement the Public Health Act or to implement the community health services, but your family is suffering in the sense of you being a porn addict. We need to break the silence. These are some of the things we need to talk about. And I'm just throwing things here so that when we come to Q&A, we are able to talk and have real conversations. It has also been mentioned that mwanaume ni deni, mwanaume ni bidii. There are songs that tell us we are supposed to be hardworking, yes, but also we should not equate our work to money. A man without purpose is a man without, it's like a ship without radar, or a ship without an anchor. And therefore, you should not put your value as a man on money, but putting our value on purpose. If you look at the public health challenges in Kenya and in the globe right now, from climate change to solid waste, liquid waste, pollution, a public health officer can actually put his energy on one thing and run with it and build purpose around it, because purpose is going to ground you as a man. So I would like to say it is important for men to meet together, share their challenges, find time to go out and have conversations with fellow men. And it's also equally important for women, now that we also have women on the call, to also continue their great activities such as chamas, fellowships. Those are things that women have really perfected. And for us men, it takes us a lot of energy to just call another man and tell him, hey, man, I've been, under the weather, or I have this problem. Do you know also the health-seeking behavior of men is also empirically proven that we need to improve on our health-seeking behavior? Because we go to the hospital when you are almost dying, when we are at stage 4. So ladies and gentlemen, we need to break the silence. We need to have mental health conversations. We need to increase the financing of mental health in our counties, in our environmental health, public health, and community health conversations. We need to see how can we best bring money to support these causes. And these causes can be divided in several stages or several layers. At the national level, we can talk about financing. But at an individual capacity, if you wake up in the morning, do you have time to work out? So many of us do not have time to work out, but we have got time to go and, can I say, drink with fellow men. I usually like telling the men who I go with to church that there's something I admire about men in the bar. And I compare men in the bar and men in the church. The men in the church, they are very hard to meet without plans. But the men in the bar, how many of us here go to the bar once in a while? You'll find when a PHO or a community health assistant calls a fellow guy, let's go and meet at our favorite joint or at the pub where there's staggering distance, they are likely to meet without a lot of planning. But those men are taking care of their mental health better than those men who have to plan and put it on their calendar for you to meet. Because some of us are guilty. We have got no time for friendships. It is easier for a man to keep friendships from primary school and high school and university than in the workplace, because men, naturally, we are less trusting. And how do we then spur those relationships as we continue working? Then you need to have an organized calendar of events. When you wake up in the morning, do you have time to go and work out? Do you have time to meet your old friends in high school, your old friends in campus, the friends you're making within the health sector, the friends you're making within and without the institution that you work for? Do you have time to just go to the gym? Do you have time to take your wife out or your girlfriend out and just have a good time? When was the last time, I want to ask you on this call, you watched a movie with your children and laugh? When was the last time you watched comedy, watched Trevor Noah or Churchill show for that matter? I don't know which comedies you guys like, but those are the things we are talking about. We are very serious talking about investments and stocks exchange and politics. But do we have time to focus on ourselves? Do you even have time to go for manicure, pedicure, for some massage? And of course, I don't mean massage with a happy ending. We need to be protecting families and reducing HIV scourge and sexually transmitted diseases. But do you have self-care as a man? Do you have time to go and get shaved? Yes. But also just relax. Do you sleep 8 hours a day? I mean, at night, you're supposed to sleep for 8 hours. But if you do 4 hours, 5 hours, then you are not going to perform. And you might win all the public health indicators and outcomes, but you might not win your private indicators. You might not see your children to school. You might not produce the next public health generation. We need you to replace yourself, mentor the young generation. We have a lot of work, ladies and gentlemen. The boy child is struggling. And it all boils down to what you do on a day-to-day basis. Take care of yourself. Read good books. There's no way you can grow the brain, and I like the schematic or the picture on the brain, the picture of the brain here. How do you grow the mind? You grow the mind by reading good books. Right now, I'm reading a book called Leadership Without Titles by Robin Sharma. The same writer has written a book called The 5 a.m. Club. I wake up at 5 a.m. every morning. And I wake up at 5 a.m. to prepare my kids for school, but I also wake up at that time to make sure that I get to read, have devotion, journal sometimes. And if you read the 5 a.m. Club, there's a very methodical way of doing what matters most. Do not sacrifice your greatness at the altar of binge watching and scrolling endlessly. We are a generation that is sacrificing our social capital at the altar of commercialization and digitization. As much as social media is a tool for connection and knowing people, it is the very social medium or anti-social media that it is a very medium, brother, that is killing our relationships. I will even ask some of us today, when you get home, Do you put off gadgets? Do you put off TVs? Do you have the capacity to tell your wife, all phones and gadgets, tablets, TVs off, let us have a conversation? You know, ladies and gentlemen, it really amazes me when I get into a matatu. Back in the day when I was traveling to Kisii and Busia and many places when I was growing up, there was no smartphone. We had feature phones and newspapers even before feature phones. And the best you could do is to ask your neighbor, nisaidie gazeti nisome. And then you end up having a conversation with that person or the bus driver for that matter. Nowadays, go to a matatu in the evening here in Nairobi CBD. Everybody is scrolling. There are like 14 torches in that mat. We are no longer talking. We have become robotic. I will tell you, one of the ministers of Japan realized that they were losing so many people to suicide. And the cabinet came up with a position called the Ministry of Happiness. Read it, it's online. Because they were collecting people from their houses when they were dead. In fact, what was calling people to collect those bodies was the stench that was emanating from those houses, because some of the people were just growing cold, old, alone. And when you die, we come to collect you and look for your family and tell you, hey, come and pick the body of your kin. And so one thing I've learned, Japan is trying to accommodate their work. They have seen the brand of too much work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. So it is high time we put an end to social media binging. The time we spend on phones can actually earn you 2 MBAs. Just look at it. If you live in Rongai, for example, 2 hours or 3 hours on the road is enough for evening classes. But people are endlessly binging. But if you can take books, that's the only way you can dine with Obama. That's the only way you can dine with Nelson Mandela. That is the only way you can dine with Tom Boyer, the first public health officer, who made sense to even give people the energy to have a union. Civil servants. Name any great man out there, you can meet them through a book. And if you must be very techy, then you can even get a Kindle. So just urging you to grow the brain. Go back to school, get your masters, get your PhDs, and that's how we get to influence. I would like to end my conversation right here and ask us to not sacrifice our greatness because of social media. It is actually one of the biggest threats to our social fabric. If you look at advancement, the West, Europe, and other countries, when they look at Africa, they marvel at our social capital. And that's the social capital that is seen in the chamas we have in this part of the world. That is the basis of community health strategy, social capital. And this is the capital we need to export. How I wish you could monetize it. And now the loss of social capital breeds mental illness because you are not wired to be alone. You're not wired to be on a gadget. You know, they are saying that the Gen Zs have got 3 things they fear. A phone without power. See the power of guru, eh? A phone without power. A phone without Wi-Fi. And they also fear marriage. And unfortunately, they fear marriage because we are not showing them the right examples. The family unit is the strongest form of governance. It is the smallest unit of governance. We all want to be governors, senators, and presidents, but you need to show you can lead through your small unit of governance, which is your family. If you can lead your family, then you can trust you. And so, countries like Australia right now, they have come up with a policy, and these are the things that I would urge the front runners like our, CEO here, Brona Shira, and other leaders out there, the PSs and the governors, the senators, to think about coming up with policies that can protect the minds of our young people, because they have been born in the era of artificial intelligence. And these gadgets and phones are causing people to be individualistic. Remember, our power as Africans is unity and socialization. So Australia's come up with a law. Anyone who is above 16 can access social media, but anyone who's below 16 cannot access social media, maybe a feature phone. And I am using the same rules in my household. My children cannot access TV Monday to Friday. And on Saturday, they have to earn it by reading a book. They earn the time to read, to watch, because watching is easy. And when you are on this gadget, your front brain doesn't work well. You reduce the power, you reduce your brain power. And that's what happens when you watch pornography. It reduces your brain power. You cannot think. The cerebral cortex is distorted. You make wrong decisions. So too much time on TV. CDC has released a great report. We need to reduce that for our children. So men's mental health is a huge subject. I want to stop right there. I can go on and on, but I want to say your brain is your wealth. Build it, put safeguards, have time to work out, have time to socialize, have time to rest, have time to sleep. And by the way, without resting, without sleeping, even your body will let in and you'll be sick. Thank you. Let me stop there and back to you, Dangote. And Dangote, we need to know whether you are brother to the famous Dangote. Asante sana.
Thank you very much, Ken. Is my elder brother. So, uh, uh, to and now very provoking situation. You have helped and also so, uh, have communities and also the effectiveness of our health system. This is very, very crucial, I tell you. So you have also highlighted some of the unique pressures that we face as men, and also the reasons why many continue to struggle silently. Now the questions become: if mental health is indeed a public health concern, how do we equip ourselves with the practical tools to protect our well-being, build resilience, and also support each other in need? So to help us answer this question, we also have our guest speaker, who is also Benjamin Zulu, will help us explore these practical solutions. We are privileged to have Mr. Benjamin Zulu amidst us. Benjamin is a renowned psychologist, a mentor, a life coach, motivational speaker, and also respected champion for mental health and personal development. Benjamin Zulu is also a renowned life coach, a celebrated author of 11 best-selling books, guided by master in the counseling, and a Bachelor of Laws from Nairobi. He has dedicated his life to helping people break past their limits. So he also strengthened the inner world and walk into their purpose with courage and clarity. Powerful made a voice, we all know, a co-host to an elective show on NTV. Benjamin bold and practical insights have touched thousands, awakening hope, confidence, and also emotional freedom in countless lives, I think. So he lives in Nairobi with his family, continue his mission to inspire generations to think boldly, live intentionally, and also love with wisdom and dignity. So over the years, he has also helped individuals build resilience. But today is guiding us through practical strategies to maintain mental wellness and building emotional resilience. So members, please allow me through uh, welcome our very own to continue and welcome.
All right. Thank you so much, Odiva. How much time do I have?
You can take 3 minutes. I hope that 10.
I didn't get that. How many?
You can take between 10 to 15 minutes. That
Okay.
okay?
That's okay. 15 is okay. All right. Good evening, brothers. I'm very happy for this gathering. I acknowledge there are sisters around, and I believe they are also listening on behalf of the men in their life. But now that the chair of the union is here, there is SG. I can also ask that in future we get exclusive male corners. You know, there are very few in society. When we have one, maybe we can make it just for men. But thank you for Jacinta and other women who participated in making this happen. We have been in communication with Jacinta. I want to address that question that Mr. Odiva has thrown to me. How do we improve our mental health, particularly being career men in public health, how do we improve our mental health? Do you know, wakati topic mental health, many men took a backseat because you don't feel sick. And we associate mental health with psychiatric problems. When you mention mental health, men just think of psychosis, schizophrenia, mood disorder, and so you exclude yourself. You are here to listen from the outside. Oh, we poor guys, those who are sick. I pity them. Many men don't bring themselves to this conversation with relatability. All right. Sorry, there was some interruption with the power on my end, but I think you can still hear me. A part of why men are struggling is that attitude of stepping aside whenever we are discussing mental health. So I want to tell you 3 problems we have as men. If you address this, number 1 is I want you to stop defining mental health as a psychiatric problem and start looking at it as a question of internal peace, inner peace. The greatest enemy of a lion is noise, chaos. In Swahili, we say, if a chicken makes enough noise, it can chase a lion out of its cage. Men are very strong when they are calm. Men are very strong when they are peaceful. But when the men are under constant stress, they collapse. We have heard this story of this man who threw himself from a building and ended his life because of chaos. He was wrecked in his life by a woman who was working under him, and he got involved with her intimately. And she started saying she's pregnant for him and making many demands and running him all together onto the brink. Hey, you don't even underestimate the power of women to make noise and cause eruption in your life. Just because she's a small girl secretary, you think you can control the game. Some of us may have watched this trending drama, The Polygamist. This man who gets there with all this, what men tend to think that they can control women. So they get many of them. So let me start by saying, stop defining mental health as psychiatric issues. There is a place for psychiatric care when there's illness of the mind, of mood disorder. That's the place you should see a doctor. psychiatrist, the same way you see a dentist, the same way you see any other physician. Make it ordinary for you, acceptable for you to discuss. If you feel there's a fluctuation or something that's abnormal in your life, please, there's no shame in seeing a physician for your eyes, physician for your mouth, physician for your brain. We all know the brain is very powerful. It's a core from where we operate. But now I want to discuss what many of us are ignoring. What that man ignored. He ignored that without peace, he cannot function. So let me go to how we cause ourselves stress. The other 2 points I want to discuss. So the first point, wanaume wengi wanajiexclude kwa conversations za mental health kwa sababu wanazilimit to illnesses, not lifestyle, lack of peace, and the turmoil and chaos and constant stress. When you talk about mental health next time, just think of inner calm and peace, and the only climate on which you can be productive. You can only be productive when you are grounded and stable and rooted and sure and peaceful. When you focus, your genius activates when you're peaceful inside. When your genius does not activate, there was a very mighty man called Samson. Then he got a nagging woman into his life, nagging him to tell him the covenants in his life. And just because of persistence, she wore him down without any other weapon, just nagging. Shida za kujiletea is my point number 2. Many men are collapsing for self-inflicted problems. We inflict problems because we have illusion of superpower. In the polygamist, that Jonasi man has status and money, and he thinks he can get away with anything. Men get CEO job, they get a good career, they get this permanent pension or public health job, and they get all this, that they can get a side chick there, a woman there. They don't want to be faithful. They don't need to be faithful. They just act like it's dispensable. Is that serious? As an exception to the rule, so you can cheat on. Lead on one girl here, misbehave. How many of us here can allow our women to touch our phones? The phone is more private than your private part. Nowadays, people hide the phone. You hide your phone, yet you close the room and put out the light and close your eyes and sleep with the same woman you cannot allow to touch your phone. Between your body and your life. Why are you putting your life in why are you eating the food she's cooking? Why are you closing your eyes next to her? Why are you trusting even the children she's getting are yours? We are very contradictory sometimes. You're hiding a small thing, a phone, yet you're exposing your whole life to the person you can't trust with your phone. You eat their phone. You sleep next to them. You ride the car there. You trust your life to them, but you hide the phone. We are very self-contradictory. My first question is this. Why do we inflict our lives with lack of discipline? Underline this as a man. It is not the mountain that wears down the traveler. It is the pebble in his shoe. Many men are broken down not by battles of the battlefield. It's not by the fog of war. It's not by the bullet from the enemy. Men are not collapsing because the jobs are too hard. I tell you the truth. I know we have financial struggles. I admit we all acknowledge times are hard economically. But many men are not collapsing because of money. Many men are collapsing because of spreading themselves thin among dating apps, online, following these girls, chatting the other one, following up this, sending token urgently to this other one, kutumia huyu fare kuchi, kuficha siri na mwingine kwa ofisi, kupitia kwa huyu una block, unamuita kama wa takataka, na ni kasichana kanaitwa Jane, kanaitwa Lea, unakasave kama wa takataka. Men have spread themselves thin. Shida za kujiletea. They are collapsing under nonsense of their own collection. If a man could get his loins in control, many men are not led by what is between their ears, they're led by what is between their legs. If men could control their loins, they will have controlled their future. But because we have this illusion of invincibility, who will do me what? Because you gave your woman 4 children, you think now she can go nowhere, so now you think you're free. She's grounded and stuck with you. You can go around and misbehave and sleep with whatever because she's stuck with you. Brothers, illusion of invincibility. Mark this, carry this to the bank. When there's no discipline, there will be disintegration. When there's no discipline, there will be disintegration. There will be depression. There will be collapse. When a man does not control himself, he's controlled by everything else. If you think you have some salary coming and you can hide a woman over there, that woman you are hiding, will become your problem. The last point I want to discuss is called emotional avoidance. Men are suffering because of emotional avoidance. We don't pause to reflect our lives. How many of us on our birthdays or anniversaries or any kind of that day is special, you review your life, you check how you've been, you even score yourself. How many men take the time to look at their emotional stability that year? How many of us? No, we bury ourselves in the bottle. No, we drown it in drunkenness. No, we hide. We don't emotional avoidance. Men cannot say, I feel anxious. I don't feel on top of things. Men don't have vocabulary for emotional problems. We avoid even describing and acknowledging it. And what you do not face, you cannot, what you do not name, you cannot control. If you don't measure it, you cannot master it. If you do not acknowledge it, how will you control it? I don't know how many men can tell me here that the last 1 year, the last 2 months, last 3 months, they felt anxious, they felt unsure, they felt incompetent, they felt stressed, overwhelmed, they felt on the edge, they felt irritated, frustrated, not enough. If you cannot name what you felt, who will deal with it? That's why on the road, men, they're fighting road rage. They cross each other a little, but because these men are living on the edge, their anger, their frustration is on the boiling point, low self-esteem, the father would never like them, mother would never validated them, the ex who lied on them, the wife was cheating on them, men are being cheated left, right, and center. What they do because they avoid, they can't say, my wife, I think my wife is unfaithful, man. I'm feeling very frustrated because I think my wife is not respecting me. She screams at me, man. She shouts at me, man. She comes home late. She talking to her mother, everything. She talks back at me. She's teaching the children to disregard me, man. I think my wife does not bring the money to the table. All my money is spent and she's hiding hers, man. Men have real problems, but because they specialize in avoiding, they are collapsing on things that could have been handled. That guy was killing himself because a girl said she's carrying her child. He didn't even live to see the DNA. Why didn't he wait to test it? Because this problem was solvable if only he could call Zulu. Bro, wait. You don't even know that child is yours. Cool down, man. Just cool down, man. Then talk to your man. Just reveal it and let it stop. One guy talked to me when it was only one child with a side chick, and I told him to tell the wife, and so that they can resolve it before. Well, the first thing you do when you find yourself in a ditch is to stop digging. Okay? When you find yourself in a ditch, first step, stop digging. Don't even stop digging. But he continued the secrecy. These affairs thrive on secrecy. So there was a second child, full-blown scandal, his career drowned, his reputation, brand, integrity, respect. Robert Greene says that everything, so much it depends on your name. Safeguard it with your life. So my encouragement for you is, for men, is stop avoiding. Some of the problems are genuinely unfair. And I'll finish with this. Another mode of avoidance is, when there's stress in your marriage, you start getting another woman by the side. That one you're getting by the side will bring conflict of interest. That conflict of interest will consume you. She's a human being with her own interests as well. It's not a solution. This is what I told men at the Man Cave. I don't know whether some of you came to the Man Cave. The Man Cave we do with the Nation Media Group. You should get your marriage resolved or dissolved. The problems in your marriage, you should zero in and solve them. Sit down with your woman, discuss what's going on until you restore peace. If you can't restore peace, part ways. Stop entertaining problems that are making you to behave, to get out of character. Start meeting your needs in the wrong way. Start being vulnerable out there. Start eating from the wrong tables. Start drinking from the wrong system. Get it resolved or dissolved. All right? Yes, this is not saying it's easy to walk out. We're not saying it's easy to break up. It's not easy. But it's not easier. It's not easy either to start cheating, have children, secret women out there, and you spread yourself thin and you collapse from the inside. So these are my three encouragements for brothers that we're saying, I want you to start looking at your mental peace as the core pillar of your strength. That is what mental health, that's where you should start. Avoid stress, find peace. Number two, stop thinking you are exempted from consequences, moral collapse because of your position and money and permanent and pensionable. Because when you go to these spaces, they're calling you boss, chief, oh, sir. They're bowing before you. Beautiful girls are trying to massage your ego to part more money with you. And no, you're not above the rules. The moral collapse will catch up with you. And lastly, I want you to stop avoiding emotionally. Make your woman your real partner. Discuss issues with her. Open your heart. Make her your friend. Stop hiding things and going away to discuss with other people. Make your woman your real companion. Thank you so much, Odiva. You can ask any questions.
Thank you very much, Benjamin. That is very, very insightful. We are really drinking from your wealth of knowledge. We are really glad to have you this evening. And your skills, we always follow you so much in all the media platforms everywhere. You are our guy. You are our person. So I'm really glad that at this point, I would like now to invite both the speakers to remain with us for moderated discussion as we proceed. Before we proceed to the audience questions. Now, just to begin, from our very own Kenneth Ugendo, from your interaction with members across the country, what do you consider the greatest mental health challenge affecting the male public health professions today? The greatest mental health challenge facing a public health profession. I want to welcome our very own Kenneth Ugendo to at least give us some few insights.
Yeah, thank you. That's a very pregnant question. And I'm going to summarize my answer, and very lovely to listen to Benjamin submitting a lot of great stuff here. I would like to say there is one song that counts it all. Pesa, pombe, siasa na wanawake. You remember that song? That is the biggest challenge for men, because that is what brings the identity crisis you're talking about. Girls, gold, and glory. The 3G network. I had hosted a very interesting personality on my podcast, and he shed a spotlight on the 3G. Girls, gold, and glory. And there was a Kenyan rapper who coined Pesa, Pombe, Siasa na Wanawake as the biggest challenge for men, because we sacrifice our greatness at the altar of seeking wealth, pesa, money. That will cause a public health officer to be mutu wa 50 bob. We have been trying to tell PHOs, when I was a young public health officer back in the day, we have been working tirelessly to redeem the image of public health in this country. So one thing is, we need to get legitimate money. Pombe is another one. Alcohol. Alcohol is one of the biggest threats to public health officers. And I remember when I was in the civil service back in the day, many years ago, now I'm in the NGO, I have seen so many PHOs lose their jobs because of alcoholism. And you know, when you take alcohol, basically you are employing your liver to work overtime. So alcohol is a major threat. And even if you talk to NACADA, it is said that a man should have 2 beers per day. A woman should have, because we also have women in this room, 1 beer or 1 glass of wine per day. But what people have not understood is the science of behavior and addiction. If you were to take 2 glasses of wine every day as a public health officer or a community health officer, because I always want people to think about community health at all times, then you realize by the end of the week, you'll have taken 14 glasses of wine or 14 beers, and you will have developed dependency. So you need to break the addiction by not saying, oh, if you Google how much should you drink, many sources will tell you take 2 beers every day. But that is not the right predisposition if you want to break addiction to alcohol. So alcohol is threatening so many of our people, and shisha threatening so many of our young Gen Zs and young men and women over there. And then I would like to say that girls, gold, and glory, we are constantly seeking for attention. Men can do anything to get power. And that is what we need to check. When men marry women who have gone to school, one of the increasing challenges I'm seeing in a modern day age, women and we as men, we are not able to handle empowered women. And men, as public health officers, you need to be happy when your wife is promoted. You should not be feeling competitive. But also the wives in this room and the women in this room, you also need to respect those men in your lives. It does not mean now because you're earning more or you have per diem or you have some money now, na mwanaume na kazi, you now wear the pants in the house. We are looking at balancing and removing toxic masculinity, but also removing toxic femininity in equal measure. Divorce is on the rise right now, and this is one of the biggest challenges of modern day. How many PHOs are divorcing? We are keen on you to perform, but how are you performing at home? And if you are performing at home, what is your nutrition? Because if you're drinking, you cannot perform in the bedroom. I dare tell you, you will underperform. And you'll also underperform in other sectors of your life if you're not taking care of yourself. I think I would like to end there and just say that there are power dynamics which you have to look at. Power is finite. So when we have taken our women and our girls to school, then you as a man, the biggest threat to a man is lack of knowledge. If your wife is going to school and learning, you should also be going to school and learn. So women went to school, they have increased their agency. Then you as a man, you need to be aware. You need to read, you need to expose yourself, you need to listen to men like Benjamin Zulu. You need to invest in knowledge. We have so many podcasts, so many books. It is a shame on us if you have no knowledge, because in this day and age, for you to survive and break the silence, you need to empower yourself. You need to have a band of brothers to work with. In fact, I would say the lack of accountability is the biggest threat to manhood. I would like to term it like that. When you do not have a band of brothers to work with and the one woman to die for, agreeing with Zulu, then you will survive. You need men to work with. Never be a lone ranger. We are wired to be lone rangers as men. But that is the battle you must always fight. It is the battle of the mind. You are tempted. It is natural for a man to be idle. It is natural for a man to be nonchalant, disinterested. Ukiingia kwa matatu na umeongeza bei kwa sababu kunanyesha, unanyamaza. You're a man, you must rise up, bring out the oomph in you. Break the silence, speak on behalf of the children and the women around you and the men who are out there. So it's breaking the silence to take care of your mental health, but also men need to take initiative, have a worthwhile legacy, leave a legacy that we shall remember you when all is said and done. What shall we remember you for? So you need to have a structure around you, be accountable, have purpose, have men you can look up to, have a mentor, people who can influence you, and also have someone you can mentor as well. Back to you, Dangote.
Thank you very much, Ugendo. You continue to inspire us with how you put it. You put it so clearly and so well that we get to get the clear picture of what clearly happens. That is very insightful. Thank you very much for that contribution. Now, this one I'll take to Benjamin Zulu. Many men are taught from childhood to suppress their emotions. How can men express vulnerability without feeling that they are compromising their masculinity, without being viewed as being women-like? This one is to Benjamin Zulu. You can unpack for us this part.
Thank you, thank you. How can men express themselves emotionally without appearing womanly?
Yes, exactly.
Thank you for putting it the way we like to put it. My quick answer is this: the first thing as a man is that you're a human being, and you need emotional vocabulary that makes you become real. When you are real, you're not weak. For example, I can lead from the front and still be real about what I feel. That invites my wife to also be real. Invites my children to be real with me. Nikikaa ngumu, nikikaa mawe, nikikosa kuonyesha what I feel, they will not also feel free. So what I recommend for men to show their feelings, is not to cry. I don't come and cry there for my wife, crying. That's not vulnerability. What I do is I come and be real and say, my money has been down. I'm working on it. My payments are delaying. I'm feeling a little bit stressed. I'm pushing myself harder. Some payments have been let down here and there. Men frequently struggle with money and projects and dreams that are delaying and things that are taking long. I can really say I'm stressed, I'm anxious about that, I'm restless about that, without collapsing, without coming to cry. I'm saying, because they will also notice. Women ask you why you look stressed. They'll ask you. So I can just say, nile project nilikuwa nasikia ikinikula kichwa lakini I can admit what I'm feeling. Many men deny, they keep quiet, they bury themselves. I can just say in truth what I'm going through. Second strategy is to have what I call timeouts. Timeout is weekly dates. Weekly timeout with your wife, with your family, where you can just be real. Hiyo wiki ilikuwaje, hiyo mwezi ilikuwaje? What did you expect that did not go through? That is the most vulnerable and easy way without it looking like a crisis. We update each other on our hopes and what is yet to be fulfilled. At that time, it's just real, okay? So just let there be spaces, a date out once a week, twice a month. Na usiniambie unafanya kazi Garissa, bibi yako Mombasa. You're not serious, eh? Wewe, mapenzi si ya Bluetooth, my brothers. Kama uko kuna bibi yako upande ule, wewe utasaidiwa, utasaidiwa. Na ujue wa mama kabla waanze kunini nje ni kwa sababu amepata mtu anamsikiza. Wewe sikiza bibi yako, usipomsikiza wale, because women must really express themselves. Men also need to express themselves, but for women is very important. Wewe unamuondokea hadi alafu unamwambia tutaongea kwa simu. Kwa simu utamgusa vipi? Tutaona hapana. So the one thing I tell men is stop living very far from a woman. Make the necessary changes. No, usiniambie career in control. You're the one choosing the career. What you can choose, you can plan your life. But kama ni career gani, you can plan your life to be close with your woman. And then have spaces regularly where you can just catch up on how that week was, how that period was. Mumetoka nje mnakula dinner na huko you're doing a drive. Hiyo inamaanisha au ngoje collapse. Kuna planned time, we just update, check, touch base. Yes, that's what I think.
Benjamin, that is very conclusive of you. That is very, very conclusive, and I think we can relate with most of this. What you speak, can really relate with all of them. Now, this one is back to Ken Ugendo. In your own view, why do many men wait until a crisis before they seek help? Why do they wait for that long? Why do they wait for that long? After the crisis befall them is when they seek the help.
Yeah, that's a great question. It starts with our health-seeking behavior. When we are in the cancer stage 4, that's when we are going to seek for help. And it goes down to one thing, Dangote and team. The man was wired with something called the ego. The ego is a gift from God. The ego, it's the mental capability, psychosocial capability wired within your emotions that makes you to wake up every morning to go and work hard and bring your kids food. Because you cannot withstand that embarrassment of your family suffering. A man wants to be seen. And that's why, and ego is what is driving the economy. Men want to be seen driving big cars, big jobs, big titles, because the ego is easily aroused in a man compared to women. And that's why tunakuita kiongozi bwana, ulipe bill. The fact that umeitwa kiongozi, hata kama itabidi umefuliza, because of the capital that comes with leadership, you want to make you want to feel good. So we have ego, but the same ego is also our Achilles heel. It's our bane as men. You do not want to look weak. One time Juliani sang the song, Pia mi ukrai kwa crisis. Mwanaume pia sio bicep. Because we want to look masculine, which is important because every woman wants a masculine man. I mean, who do not want to have a man who looks okay, a man who has money, a man who has got an ego? But a bloated ego is toxic. So you need to get the balance here, ladies and gentlemen. We need ego to work hard, to wake up every day, to drive purpose. But also when ego is overfed, when you have a bloated ego, then it becomes toxic. And therein creeps toxic competition. In the workplace, ladies and gentlemen, why are we competing? Men take long because you are delaying. You do not want to tell people that you're suffering from a certain disease. You do not want to say that you have erectile dysfunction because you think your manhood is defined by what is between your legs. But really, your manhood is defined by what the author who created you says, and that's God. Do you know when you get to a certain age, you may not even be having sex every day? There's some ages you actually have sex once a week. And even some of us here are 40, 50, 30, and having sex twice a week. Or even once in 2 weeks because of the poor food you guys are eating. As PHOs, you need to be leading from the front, eat well. What I'm trying to say is, check your ego as a man. When ego is unbridled, when ego is not tempered, then it becomes toxic. And ladies in this room, I also want to urge you, look at the ego of the man in your life. Respect his ego. If you puncture his ego, he can become a beast. And women also need to invest in understanding the ego of a man because it is a gift, but it can also turn to be very toxic. So as a man, have that self-awareness that hii ni ego inakusumbua. Hauna pesa lakini unataka kuendesha gari kubwa. Hauna pesa lakini unataka kuishi Runda. We need to live within our means. We need to accept to go to hospital. We need to take care of our ego. It's a big subject, but I want to end there. That's why we take long to seek health. That's why we don't want to say we are in debt. That's why we need to avoid debt because you want to please people with big cars, big things. Sometimes you can stay with your old jalopy, your own Toyota, because you don't give value to a car. I mean, a car does not give you value. I usually say that I am the one to give the car value, not vice versa. Back to you. Dangote, back to you. I finished.
be able to pass over to Ali. So, of questions. Ali, please welcome.
Okay, thank you so much, Odiva, for moderating the whole process. You did an amazing job, and continue being part of this journey for us also. My name is Mohammed Ali. I'm the National Treasurer for the Union. I'll be chipping in for Odiva. So the one thing I can say, the presenters have done wonders, and this is an amazing session for us. It was an eye opener, and this is the right time to open our eyes and to see what future holds for public health officers, especially the male gender. So the second question for the session, it goes to Benjamin. And this is, what are some of the warning signs that colleagues, friends, or family members may be struggling emotionally, even when they appear strong on the surface?
Yeah, thank you, Mohammed. One sign of a man who is struggling silently is when he is not in his usual spirit. If Mohammed is always talking, helping people, then suddenly he's not showing up in the same spaces, he's not as jovial. Mohammed should be checked out, particularly by those who the inner circle, the people can get to him. Another thing is constant underperforming. You know, our corporate space is very goal oriented. So the man who is to deliver and is not delivering, when you ask, you say, it's okay, I'm working on it. Many men don't want to be vulnerable. If then you should come from the other side and just invite him for coffee. Do you know when he went for Man Cave, one guy said his life turned around when his boss took him out for a coffee, for a talk, and they had a conversation about the father he never had, the mentoring he longed for, his dreams, and the way he was alone. He was overstretched by black tax, poor financial planning, no wisdom. He said that one drive and coffee skyrocketed his work performance. He had been struggling because he's overstretched. So Mohammed, one quick sign is the man who has been a performer for the last 3 quarters is not a performer and he's not revealing it. The last sign I'll talk about is when he seems to be indulging in alcohol, in gambling, betting, when he seems to be too much into women or dating apps, or into, whenever you see him diverting to something that is soothing, that is usually a painkiller, anesthesia, a reaction to men. So when you find that a man who was otherwise calm and collected, now he's already indulgent in anything. He's taking salary advance from the blues. You know, he was not doing that, but now his money is getting depleted quickly. You can't tell why. He has a mistress there, or you got betting, too much drinking. He's already now going to Naivasha with the boys, with the Subarus in his 40s, 50s, reverting back. That is usually a sign of stress. Okay, when he keeps quiet, when he does not drink, when he does not bet, when he does not do those things, the stress comes back and he has to solve it. Now, in order to keep himself distracted, he keeps himself busy. Yeah, so if you notice that the man's energy has dropped, he's not as jovial. Number two, if you notice drop in performance that is consistent, instead of just firing him, have one last conversation. Discuss with him in a way that is not performance oriented, just his lifestyle. And lastly, when you notice a certain interest in expensive habits, usually a way to numb a disturbance. Yes.
Wow, that's powerful. That's powerful. Very powerful indeed.
Thank you.
So tumesikia ukianza kuwa busy unajua mambo imeanza.
Yes.
So I think now because of time, I think I'll continue with more session. I think with more questions which are within the group. So I think I'll raise this question to Kenneth. How can workplace leaders create environment where men feel safe discussing the mental health concerns?
Yeah, thank you, Mohammed, for that question. And remember, a man without work feels displaced and lost. And men were born to work. And in fact, there's no woman who should go for a man who is not working. So a man must be committed to something. And now when men are in the workplace, then there are chances that they want to grow. There's something I would like to warn us about, and it's something called the curse of comparison. You have a different journey. We are all unique. We are like these 5 fingers. Some of us are going to be taller than the others. Some of us will be accessing sunlight more than the others. And the minute we understand that in this world we are all born equal, but opportunity and preparation meets people at different times. Your time to bloom is not the same time as mine to bloom. Some of us are late adopters, some of us are late bloomers, some of us are early adopters. So in the career industry, I would like giving the example of the guy who started KFC. Of course, I know public health, might from a public health angle, I know I've seen great adverts by KFC where they're saying dads should wear shoes, moms should cook managu. I like the creativity and the KFC, but the story around the KFC boss is very interesting. He started KFC when he was close to 60, and it is a global franchise. So you are in a work environment. You could be a Gen Z, a baby boomer, a Gen Xer. You could be at a different stage of life. In the workplace, what makes the workplace very toxic is competition that has got no purpose, useless and needless competition. And that's what I've been telling public health officers and community health officers in this country to look at. We are not fighting each other, but you're fighting the virus, the disease, the fungi, the bacteria. When people look at the end, then we are able to align together. You might be talented in a certain field. For example, if you are good in statistics and somebody else is good in advocacy or good in sanitation engineering, these people can actually form a company. They can form a consultancy. You can build, you can have what we call intra-entrepreneurship, where you are building your NGO with all the strengths. For example, if you have different people working for an NGO, like in my team, I have someone who is strong in primary healthcare, somebody else is strong in reproductive health, somebody else is strong in inclusive health. We work together as a team, and we respect that you are good in this particular area. So one of the things that men must shun is toxic competition. And one of the best ways to check whether you are in toxic competition, do you have the ability to compliment your colleague? When your colleague has given a very good point in the boardroom or has given a nice speech in the public health square, do you give them compliments? Do you acknowledge? When you're writing an email, do you want to say, I did it, or do you write, we did it? Do you ever get that temptation sometimes? So when you embrace synergy, then you are able to grow and stand on the shoulders of giants. So I think we need to shun toxic competition, and we need to shun comparison that has no end. Of course, we encourage healthy competition. If I'm doing my master's and also you're doing your master's, then we can form a group and we can grow together, but not tearing each other down. And I think that's the biggest challenge for Africa. Like me, who is a podcaster, I usually compare, Kenyans and Tanzanians sometimes. Tanzanians, you'll find them listening to their own musicians. Nigerians listen to their own musicians. They listen to their own creative artists. So it's also high time we also think of how can we appreciate our own, appreciate those colleagues you have, and then network, because we can only grow as far as, you know, we are as strong as our weakest link. So if you surround yourself with strong people, then you get to grow. So we avoid comparison, negative comparison, and toxic competition, and we shall grow.
That was wonderful, our chairman, for those wonderful remarks. We need a healthy competition in our health to have a healthy environment. It's good. Competition is healthy and it's part and parcel of us, but we need it to be clean. Sio vita chafu. So we go to, I think we have two questions, two members who have raised their hands. I'll give opportunity to Mike Ouru. Feel free. The floor is yours. You can feel free.
So thank you, Mohammed and team, for this wonderful session. So my name is Michael Lauru. So I just have one question to Benjamin. He talked about dissolve or resolve in terms of our issues in our marriages. So
Yes.
at what point do you seek help? Because you said these two things lies majorly on the hands of the man. So at what point do you need to seek help? Thank you.
Thank you, my brother. What's your name again?
Michael Uru.
Michael. Yes. And just out of curiosity, I saw a member here called Job Ogendo. And my producer at MTV is called Job Ogendo. I was wondering, could he be the one? I think if this is public health, he cannot be the one. So, at what point do you seek external help? My brother, when you have had the conversation once, the conversation twice, and the stalemate, the tension is still there. Please get a third party. And you are the leader in that home. Don't let the stalemate translate into distance, disconnection, grudges, and to spread. You yourself get a counselor. I don't recommend you bringing your family members because you'll be washing your dirty linen in public, and those family members, they'll have a lot of gossip to gossip for a very long time. And even if you make up and reconcile, they will not have made up and reconciled. Move away from inviting aunties and daddies and family to your family issues. Get professionals. So there's a confidentiality. Nobody will throw it into your face later. Nobody will be fed. You are the other side of your marriage, right? A professional. Some people trust their spiritual leaders, the pastor, the priest. It's okay, but I want you to get a trained person who can handle psychological underlying issues. Because I will not just hear the story. I will also hear power struggle. I will hear somebody wants closeness, another one wants independence, space. I will hear with background of human operation because that's my training. And my brother, let me tell you, my brother, people avoid spending. So I want you to go to a place where pay that is more efficient. People are usually getting free help. The issue is deep, but people don't invest in the solution. So if you have had a conversation in another one and it's persisting, it's getting out of hand, the stalemate is going on, there's tension going on, you yourself, without seeking for too much permission or what, especially if there's no talking terms, drive the issue to a professional yourself. Thank you.
Thank you, Benjamin, for answering Mike Uhuru. Mike, I think now you have gotten mahali ikifika lazima uchangamke na mahali vile unafaa kusaidika pia. You look for a third party and necessarily not your family member. So I think there was Job Ogendo, but I think he's no longer in I think he dropped, but now there is Nyambura. Nyambura, you can feel free and ask your question.
Okay, thank you, Mohammed. I'm honored to be in this meeting, discussing around a very important topic on mental health. And I can assure you that we have really taken note and we really play a big role in the life of men. My question is towards Kelly Dogedo. I believe there are policies around integrating mental health in the universal healthcare, which is very important, but on ground it has not happened. We have also had meetings early last year, NACADA going around counties and they were advocating. Sorry, they were talking about drug abuse, and we the meeting we discovered that we are the victim. The people in healthcare industry are already victims. You cannot separate drug abuse and mental health. They go hand in hand. So I believe this issue of mental health should be should be should come out like charity begins at home. It must start with us who are in health field. I don't know what policy we have that is going to promote this mental health activity amongst the healthcare workers, because we are really losing most of our colleagues, whether in public health or nursing. We work together in the same environment. We have seen people get into drug abuse, into alcoholism, and we lose them at a very young age. What can we do to solve this problem? Which is which is this I feel that this platform is not wider enough to cover this. Thank you.
Who was the question directed to, please?
Sorry to Kenneth again.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Nyambura, for that question. I have just changed positions because of power. I like your concern about the young people in this country and actually in Africa. The median age of Africa is 19. The average age of Africa is also 19. And that's why we cannot focus on our careers and forget about these conversations. And again, Kenya has the same statistics. Over 70% of our population is young. And that's why we need to be asking ourselves, are our public health systems resilient enough to respond to the needs of the young people? One of the things that I have been championing for at my workplace, we talk about youth peer providers, YPPs, because we have realized that it is easier to reach a young people through a young people. I mean, you set a thief to catch a thief. We are also realizing that technology is really affecting the young minds. A young person who is 11, 12, 13, 14 has got no wherewithal or capacity to say, I have watched enough of TV, I need now to go and read. Their brains are not wired to make that decision. And that's why we need to put guardrails. And at the same time, they are very culpable and vulnerable to drug addiction. And you know what happens with drugs? Drug addiction, to be precise. Drugs gives you dopamine hits. Dopamine is a hormone that makes you feel good. You get an adrenaline rush. You feel very good. That's why pornography is killing our young generation. That's why pornography is hurting our young generation, because they are sorry, I was just getting disordered there. They are looking for the cheap gratification. The reason you go to school and work hard, okay, sorry, close the door, please. Yeah, that's my daughter. The reason we go to school and work hard is because you are delaying gratification. Now, the drugs cause instant gratification. That's why you find people who are addicted, even they curl their fingers like this. I've seen some people in some streets in other countries where they are so addicted to the dopamine. That's the same thing driving drug addiction. That's the same thing driving phone addiction. That's why you do not want to stop scrolling at night, because you are hitting the dopamine. And that's why social media likes are driving uptake businesses. You should go and watch a documentary by Netflix called The Social Dilemma and see how the algorithms have been wired to keep us glued to Instagram and all these great tools, you will not stop scrolling. We like the tools, but we get addicted. So dopamine is a big problem, and you need to delay gratification. You need to delay the dopamine hits. That's what we're doing on Nakada. Basically, if you're addicted to a gadget, you're addicted to heroin, addicted to shisha, we need to start involving young people to reach to the young people. We need a policy environment in Nyambura, like the one I talked about in Australia, that is putting guardrails on access to these things. We need the public health officers to talk about the environmental health laws that can stop shisha in clubs. Shisha has got so many chemicals therein. There's no economic value, or rather, there's no health value and economic value later. You might get money now, but the money shall use to treat people from cancers and other diseases is too much. It's a loss if you look at the return on investment. So it's a big conversation, Nyambura, and I think it's your role. If you have that passion, remember we talked about purpose. Every man, every woman needs a purpose. If you like to focus on drugs, focus on it, run with it, and we shall follow you. And the money will follow you later, but not the other way around.
Thank you, Kenneth Ogendo, for that inciting and wonderful remarks. And I think we need to reduce our dopamine hits. A good example, we usually see Gen Z are hooked, especially on screen time. So pia sisi tumeanza kukua hooked pia vile vile. So now I think before I go to give another to give it to Aduyu, I think there is a question here directed to Benjamin. What are practical daily habits would you recommend to a busy professional seeking to protect their mental well-being?
Yeah, thank you for that, Mohammed. I think that's a good one. Number one, I don't recommend daily activities. That may be too mechanical and performative. I recommend strategies that you implement in your life as a way of direction and personal culture. For example, budgeting before you get money. Tell money where to go instead of wondering where it went. Number two, make your partner accountability partner. Let your wife be the one who helps you with your movement, with your spending, with your business moves, with your decisions, with how you relate to the relatives. Have a thinking partner in your engagement with the outside world. It will bring you a lot of peace and avoid blind spots. Okay? Have business meetings for your family, for your marriage. Business meaning planning what you have to, discussing it with your wife. And the third thing is to learn self-love. Many men don't know self-love. Buy good clothes for yourself. Eat well. Take happy meals. It's okay to have happy meals. Happy food. Men just eat. Normalize having self-care. Rest. Good sleep. Get a good mattress and good bed. Wachana nako kwa kitanda kadogo kamekaa hapo umekaa nako miaka 12. Self-care is make your bedroom restful. Build a good house with self-care in mind. It's okay to have a good car. Mbona unajinyima kila siku, umejinyima hata kiatu imekanyanga engorita. Self-care is also investing in yourself. What makes you happy, makes you feel good. Self-care is taking trips from time to time. Your birthday imekuja na ni Safaricom na Equity ndio wamekukumbuka. Wewe hata ujikumbuki. No budget, no plan, nothing. Go out for a day, man. Rest. Take some good meal. Enjoy with your wife. Learn to say no. Many men don't know say no. They are just Mr. Rescue. You're rescuing everyone. Put limits to your availability. Control where you go, who sees you. Let those directions guide you. And lastly, retire expired friendships. Some of the relationships you dragged from very far away, those people are just borrowing you money, borrowing your time, making you a free therapist, wanting your car rides, you buy them alcohol, you support them with this, taking. And all because just because you come from college, retire friendships that have expired. They stress men. Let that be a policy. Sometimes for you to go up, you need to get lighter. Get lighter for the flight. Thank you.
Thank you, Benjamin. That was wonderful. Lazima tujipende kabla tupendwe. So love yourself more, treat yourself wisely, and in return you will benefit even more in terms of your outlook. So I'll give this opportunity to Abed Aduyu. Feel free. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much for the opportunity, and I want to appreciate the speakers. I think this is one of the webinars that I've attended, very insightful, and it speaks to the facts and what is happening in the society, especially being organized for the public sector. And I know it really happens in the private sector, where we have spaces for people to talk about their mental issues. And today I was even discussing with the director from Nairobi County. We have these cases that are happening, and if we can have more sessions like this one, then I think it will save a lot of men and as well as women who are working in such spaces. Mine, maybe it's not a direct question, but I don't know how the public, let me not confine to the public health officer, but the public professional work in the public spaces. How easy is it to have these team building activities being part of and ways of getting rid of mental issues, so that men can cope and be able to tackle these mental issues? Maybe, I don't know if that is one of the things that people can do, and also active activities like engaging in sports and so on. Yeah, those was my concern and question.
Yeah, I think I will direct it to Benjamin because it was still under his purview. Team building. Okay, Benjamin.
Yes, I'm trying to get a paraphrase. What exactly? Do you mind paraphrasing briefly? What was the team building? What was the question about?
Can it be one of ways that can help the professional in the public sector manage their own mental issues?
Thank you for that. Yes, it provides catharsis or release when you have social activities, relaxing activities, playful activities. They give you release, a relief, break from high stress and high demand work. So they have their place. But I wouldn't want you to count on them. I want you to have your own routines with your family. I emphasize family because you're with family every day. If you make family to be your team, play with your child, joke with your wife, have regular release moments for just laughter. That is more sustainable than team building that comes once a year. If you have it, if you animate it, enjoy it, but you can't count on it. I want you to count on routines that you can count on every Sunday, every Saturday, every once a week or something like that. You guys watch out for each other. You check how you're doing. Check out your brothers, your sisters, your extended family. Maybe the way you make phone calls, where those are people who can give you one phone call and you feel relieved, So I want you to really establish that social connection in what is permanent. And what is permanent? Family. What is consistent? Family. What is dependable? Family. That's what my emphasis is. Thank you.
Thank you, Benjamin. That means the constant is family. So whatever you do, family revolves around everything. In case of any eventuality, family will always stick by you. So I think, is it Paul? Paul, are you raising your hands or are you clapping? Because you have been.
Okay. What I wanted to ask.
Okay, feel free.
Yes, I agree. It's important to play around your wife. It's important to have time with your children. But you find out there are actually statistics that are showing much of the mental health issues are coming from again home or from the immediate family members. Now my problem is, where do you draw the line? The family is becoming a serious concern. Again, this is the same family that is becoming the center of rescue or hope. So now, where do we bring the gap? Managing the issues coming from the family, and again, family being the center of recourse. Thank you.
Are you talking about extended family or nuclear family?
Either. I
No,
know
they're not
you
the
are.
same. They're not the same. Please specify, because you don't choose your sisters and brothers, but you do choose your wife. Which family are we talking about?
Okay, I happened to attend another scientific conference that happened last week, Thursday.
Yes.
And the presentation was rotating around a 30% statistics of mental health issues coming from the immediate family. Immediate family, of course, means your wife, your children.
Thank you for bringing that up. That's a different discussion, my brother. What's your name again?
I'm Paul.
Paul, I was asked that question at the man cave, and I will tell you what I said. Our families are stressful, our marriages are stressful because we don't marry intentionally. We marry impulsively. Most men don't choose a peaceful woman. They choose a sexy one. They don't choose a woman who has emotional stability. They choose a woman who is easy to undress for him. Many men got themselves in situationships, babies, and all that. And then they try to make a marriage out of that. So yes, it is coming from marriages because we do not engineer the marriage for peace and stability. We stagger into it. The solution is very simple, although not easy to do. Marry intentionally. And if you're in a marriage that is cause of chaos and drowning you, stabilize it or get out of it. Resolve it or dissolve it. The world is already tough. You cannot have another war at home. Teach men to control themselves sexually and interview women for character and morals. Stop demanding women to sleep with you to prove love, because sex is the easiest thing they can do. Check whether they can engage with you, whether they are controlling their life, whether they have good relationship with money, whether they are respectful, whether they are humble, whether they have values and virtues, whether they have self-control, whether they have vision. Check that side. And you will disqualify many women who would have given you free sex. Thank you, my brother.
Very powerful indeed. So I think there was another person who had raised his hand. So I think he has already.
Moha, how are you?
I'm good.
This is Wycliffe, and mine is not a question. I just want to add on whatever Benjamin is saying, that as we even get to grow as men, Moha, you know me and you in the next 10 years to talk wazee in this community, we should even grow up to be men who are respected in the society. Because nowadays you go to hotels, you go to bars, everywhere you start thinking like it's a parents' day, old men, young girls. So as we even get to grow to be older men, let's also be men of morals, men who can be respected in the society. Thanks.
Well said, my brother Wycliffe. Yeah, from Nyamira. So that was wonderful. Any other person who wants to add a comment or a question?
Mohammed,
Yes, Kirui.
if you may, thank you very much. I'm very much pleased to to be part of this forum and being a forum that teaches or gives us the way forward in regards to the current problem. One of the issues, just a comment, one of the issues that I've come to learn about life is that one of the biggest resource that we hold and we have is our brain. And coming to understand from the submissions of both speakers today is that we need to protect our brain in as much as we can, and that what feeds in our brain is what comes out. So in the same perspective, and having had several comments and questions, I'd also recommend for an organized an occasion or you know, set of such kind of forums, and we form a group that will guide everyone, especially in the health sector, which many are dealing with a lot of issues. And therefore, I'll sell my liver to have Benjamin and Chairman to be our patron for this uh, endeavor. Thank you.
Thank you, Wakili, for those remarks. I think for me, I can say is we have everything revolves around our family, and our family is the center pillar. We usually say K is constant, so I think now family is constant. And at the end of the day, after everything, you need to go home where you feel you will be at peace. So I'll give this opportunity to Grace Nyambura. Feel free, and you raise your question or your remarks. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Please allow me to speak in Kiswahili because of the setup that I am in right now. Ningependa kuchangia. Nafurahia kwa mada ya leo ambayo ni nzuri, ina affect kila mtu, lakini Bwana Benjamin na Kenneth, kuna mambo mengine ambayo pia yanaathiri wanaume na si wanaume peke yake, walioajiriwa na wasioajiriwa. Kwa mfano, sijui utasaidiaje wanaume, kwa sababu unapata mara nyingi kwenye nachangia hii mambo ya mental health, si wakati mwingine ni pesa. Unapata sana sana kama professionals, most of the time like the PHOs, mara nyingi utapata akiwa huko nje ana perform, akifika ndani ya nyumba hakuna kitu imerudi imekuwa toothpick. Unapata huyu mtu labda hatumii pombe, labda hatumii kama ni hiyo miraa, lakini akirudi kwa nyumba hakuna kitu. Sasa unapata mara nyingi, saa zingine mwanamke si pesa anataka, saa zingine hata ile tu mambo ya nyumbani mwanaume mwenyewe anachangia. Sijui utasaidia aje wanaume wenzetu, angalau pia hata tuweze kuwaheshimu. Juu mara nyingine unapata pia wanawake wenye tuko kazini hatutaki pesa zao, lakini pale kitandani angalau mwanaume awajibike. Asante.
Who was directed the question, please?
Benjamin.
Okay. Yeah, I hear you. Sometimes it's not just a provision, it's also the emotional connection and presence. Jibu langu pale ni hakikisha uliyemwoa kwanza ni rafiki, sio mpenzi tu, ni mtu mnayeelewana, somebody who cares about you. Make sure your marriage is first of all founded on friendship and mutual care. Isikuwe ni master servant, because what you're describing is lack of equality. It looks like it's master servant. Maintain a mutual care that goes beyond husband wife. Their soul. You care about that person's feelings, their peace, their satisfaction, their joy, their flourishing. That should be the climate in the marriage. Don't just be stuck on the labor of the married. Cultivate, and that's why I was talking about regular meetings, dates out, cultivate a climate of mutual love that is based on how we care for each other. Yes, and I want to, Mohammed, my request is this meeting was supposed to end some 40 minutes ago. I had another engagement coming up. I was just texting Jacinta. Don't know how long we are to ending up because I've another engagement coming up.
Yes, yes. We will. I was finalizing with Grace. Then we give you and the chair parting shot. Then we close the meeting, because I know in case of any, because we have dragged the whole meeting for long.
Okay.
So, and even our chair has a meeting at around in the next few minutes. So I'll give the chair to give his parting shot. Then you, Benjamin. Then we give our SG. So, Chairman, feel free. Kenneth Ogendo.
Yeah, thank you, Mohammed. Just a disclaimer, I'm in the capacity of mental wellness and not in the capacity of a chair. And I would like to really appreciate the conversation and picking from where Zulu has left and the question from Grace. I think what people are eating is important to that effect. We do not want to have men who are eating chips and sausages and Cerelac and noodles and expect them to perform. So if you are cooking the wrong foods, Grace, not you, but you know what I'm saying, others, then do not expect. You know, make sure that a man has cashew nuts on the bedside. A man has nuts, almonds, get proper nutrition. But also, health checks are very important for men. We need to have annual health checks. Very important for every man. I do annual health checks every year. And that's where you get the markers on prostate cancer. You know, you check your liver functionality, you check your lungs, you know, blood works. Very key. I would like to give my parting shot because time is far much gone and it's good to end on a high note. A man cannot take another man to Java and they look at each other eyeball to eyeball and have a conversation. You might need hubris. Hubris is arrogant pride to do that. It takes a lot of energy. But when a man takes a drive with another man as they are going over a long distance without necessarily looking at each other's eyes, the men tend to speak more. They are able to vocalize what they are going through. And that's how we break the silence. And that means we need to create those safeguards and have those moments with our friends, family, schedule times to talk to your mom, your dad. Our parents are very important. Our siblings, our friends, and have a band of brothers to work with and have one woman to die for. Accountability remains supreme and structure is important. Asanteni sana, Mungu wabariki, and we shall meet another time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kenneth Ogendo, for those wonderful parting shots. Indeed, wanaume kwa ile kitu wanapenda ndo wanaweza ongea pamoja. So drive over ile si kupelekana kofi, lakini drive wanaweza kupelekana safari vizuri wakiongea. So I'll take this opportunity to welcome our speaker to give his parting shot. Benjamin, feel free.
To all men, the best thing you can give to those who care about you is a healthy you, a happy you, a nourishing you. Your children don't want you depleted, exhausted, burning out. Your wife does not want you overstretched, irritated, angry, frustrated. The first thing you give those who care about you is the best you. When you take care of yourself, you can take care of those who are under you. Next, there's no weakness in self-love. It's not You should not feel shy for pouring into yourself the way you pour into others. Set aside a budget for self-care. As you buy clothes for the whole family, include yourself. As you do prizes and rings for the family, include yourself. Factor yourself in resting. Factor yourself in looking good. Factor yourself in nourishing your body. That is very okay. There's no shame in it. And I want you to learn to say no to so many demands, because good men are always being demanded. Don't be overstretched. Saying no is a form of self-love, and it brings you mental peace. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Benjamin, for being a wonderful speaker during the whole process. It was very wonderful session.
Thank you.
For me, I can say a strong man is not the one who suffers in silence, but who recognizes when to speak. And basically, these revolves around, or especially the stigma around that conversation. But hopeful, we will reach there, and we will feel free, and we'll know that the strongest people are those who ask for help, and not those who suffer in silence. So I'll give this opportunity to our Honorable SG to give his parting shot. Then we close with a word of prayer. Then we call it a night. Our SG, feel free. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Honorable Treasurer, for moderating us so well. Before we come up to a close, I want to say a few things that mental health is actually an issue in Kenya, and it's actually rooted in the Constitution of Kenya 2010, and we need part of the role of a union, because we are a public health union, is to make sure that we do advocacy and make sure that we integrate mental health care into all levels, from the primary health care, from level 1 to level 6. I think Nyambura, that is Rachel Nyambura, the DSG for association, raised something very cardinal, and it's also within our mandate to ensure that we integrate mental health into all the levels of our healthcare facilities in this country, and that is a very strategic move. And I want to say that is actually going to be part of the area that we're actually going to use to be able to ensure that we address all the pending issues. Remember, mental health is not actually being given the necessary support that actually is supposed to be done. And again, number two, like I said, we actually going to rally for periodic men's wellness conversations. We need this. I think it should not just be for the mental health alone. We need to be having occasionally these conversations. And I want to thank Benjamin Zulu. By the way, Benjamin, we appreciate you. We don't take you for granted. We know you shape lives, you mend a lot of people. Our very own Ken Ogendo, I want to say personally, we have actually benefited from these very healthy discussions, and we want to pray that God gives you enough grace to be able to talk to us maybe next time. We need to have more of these conversations as we be able to shape the discussions as we actually go ahead. And then also we need to ensure that we have peer support groups or PHOs. That is very important. I think one of the speakers said we are actually having a lot of problems, particularly in our urban cities, in Nairobi, in Kisumu, in Nakuru, in Kajiado. You go to all those areas to realize most of our men are actually not actually being very productive in terms of their work productivity. Yesterday, I was seeing the president trying to launch, performance and productivity of the public service, and he was actually trying to say that we need to prioritize impact over presence. Actually, he was actually saying it does not just end at you going to an office to sit there. It's not that you are present at the office that actually is going to matter. It's actually the impact you create at the office that are actually going to matter. Then what will happen when we have our men who are actually going to the offices without actually impact? people would not have actually don't have actually adequate productivity. So that's an area that I think we really need to make sure that we, as a union and also as public health advocates in this country and actually beyond, we need to make sure that we actually look at it and then make sure that we make sure that we put in a lot of work. Lastly, we need to make sure that the way one of our speakers said, Ken, we need to make sure that we have more resources. Actually, if we do not have resources actually directed towards mental health activities, I think we also need to be we actually be able to be getting it wrong. So that's another area that as a union and also as advocates, we need to ensure that we keep advocating for the presence of enough resources at all levels so that we can be able to address mental health issues. So, thank you so much. Don't want to bore you with a lot of issues. Thank you to all our comrades, our colleagues who joined us. Wakili, we want to appreciate you. Our National Executive Council, the NEC, our branch leadership, I've seen our brother from Nyamira, a lot of branch leaders. I've seen Mteti from Kitui. I've seen our sister from Grace from Taita Taveta. We have all our leaders who have actually joined us, and all both from the union and the association. I want to salute you. Thank you so much for taking your time to join us, and all our colleagues from all walks of life. These are conversations that we must always keep alive and we must always have it actually going on. So I want to let us stop there, and I want to wish you a fruitful night as we return to our respective bed, na tukumbuke vile Ken ametueleza tulale masaa ya kutosha. Let us have adequate rest. It is important to have rest. By the way, if you work, don't imagine that working for 24 hours will make you more rich. You might even have money, but even don't even spend that money. We use that money na tuache pale kwa hospitali. It is important that you rest, have adequate rest. Ikiwezekana enda ufanyiwe massage. Possible, not even hata ikiwezekana, go like what Benjamin has said. Self love is very important. Enda fanya massage. Don't usiogope semi zile massage fani hizo za Kilimani. I'm talking about massage, so that now you can also feel good as you go. Then take out yourself with your wife and your family and feel good as you actually go outside there. Otherwise, thank you so much. I want to stop there and hand over back to my brother, the treasurer, to conclude for us and maybe say words of grace as we end the meeting. Asante and good night.
Thank you so much, our SD. Thank you. Let us continue to prevent, promote, and protect mental health, well-being, especially in our public health fraternity. So I'll give this opportunity to our Jacinta Kaliti to close it with a word of prayer. Thank you.
Thank you, Mohammed. Let's bow our heads and pray. Heavenly Father, we come before you with grateful hearts, thanking you for the gift of life, the opportunity to learn, and the privilege of serving our communities as public health professionals. We thank you for this evening's conversation and for every speaker, moderator, and participants who have contributed to making this meaningful. We are grateful for the wisdom shared, the experiences exchanged, and the hope that has been renewed. We lift each and every man represented here today. You know all the burdens that we carry, the responsibilities we shoulder, and even the silent battles that no one else sees. We pray that you would grant us peace where there is anxiety, strength where there is weariness, and courage where there is fear, and hope where there is discouragement. Bless the work of Kehphpu and all public health professionals across the country, and guide our leaders with wisdom, protect every member in their daily duties, and unite us in our shared commitment to healthier people and healthier communities. And as we depart, may the conversations that have begun today continue in our homes, our offices, and our hearts. Help us to check on one another, encourage one another, and work together in hope. As we depart for the night, we ask for your guidance, your strength, Lord. And as we continue to plan and reach out to our communities, may you strengthen us, may you guide us, may you be with us. We pray this, believing in Jesus Christ, your Son, our Lord and our Savior. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you.
Amen.
Good night. Bye.
Amen.
Good night.
Good night. Wajua.